Well, good afternoon and welcome to our live streaming coverage of the NatWest Champions Trophy as we've reached the quarter-final stage in a fixture that brings us to the home of the defending champions from last year, Bedford School. Their opponents this afternoon are Canford School, and we're anticipating what should be a great game of schools rugby as both sides bid for a place in the last four, the draw for which will take place live here after the game has taken place. With regards to the other quarter-finals, well, Eton College were put to the sword last week by Tunbridge School, so we've got one semi-final team. The other games take place tomorrow, with Oakham taking on Monmouth. Oakham through on our live stream 4 weeks ago now, of course, and Epsom against Blundell's, a repeat of last year's semi-final. Today's focus, though, is here in Bedfordshire. Bedford School with a decent amount of rugby pedigree, with the likes of Martin Bayfield, Andy Gomersall and Welsh scrum half Robert Jones having come through the ranks, 7-star Ben Gollings too. More recently, Northampton Saints winger Jamie Elliott as well is with the Saints. And, a handful of the team have that relationship, of course, with the club just situated around 20 or so miles northwest of the school. So let's have a look at the teams then. And looking at Bedford, 6 of the starting lineup are in the Saints Academy, with representative honours also on the board with Scotland for the 2 Frasers in the centres, skipper Dingwall and Strachan. Connor Finch, well, he played for Ireland under-18s clubs against Portugal on Saturday. The team then, up front, Kane, Kerr and Entwistle. In the engine room, Ted Hicks and Joe Rogers. The back row, as we said there, Connor Finch alongside Joe Wallace and Ryan Hussey. The half-backs, Jack Dalton and Ed Johnson. The wingers, Bowes and Knight, and then Fraser Dingwall and Fraser Strachan in the centres, with Alfie Orchard at the back. For visitors, Canford, well, it's the Bath Academy to whom they ally, with 6 of the starting 15 under their watchful eye. A few younger brothers of former players are also in the lineup, which looks like this: Cordwell, Westlake and Leggett up front, Alan Sullivan and Will Hutchings in the second row, James Vasey, Rob Tolcher and Pat Regan, the skipper, across the back row. Then the halfbacks, Louis Fgrave and Toby Hett. And then Nick Milton, Will Butt, James Thorne, Oliver Dunga make the back line, with Luke Messon as the man, or Meeson, sorry, with the man at the back. And their coach is Peter Short. And Peter, of course, with his own roll call of Premiership clubs behind him. Exeter Chiefs, Bath and Tigers, where he won the Premiership and 2 Heineken Cups. And it's a big day for the teams, but it is a big day for the coaches as well. And we spoke to them just a few minutes ago. James, an exciting afternoon here in Prospect, here at Bedford School. How are the boys feeling ahead of this big match against Canford? As you said, it is a big game for them. We've tried not to big it up too much, but the boys are pretty pumped and ready for this game. They get, to be honest with them, they get pumped for every game. So this is, for them, it's another game, but obviously it's a pretty big setting, and having cameras here as well is really good for them. Yeah, it puts the pressure on. Obviously, as the defending champions, you've got a job to do. A few people move on, a few people come up year groups, but you've got a decent thread of people that were at that final last year. So are they going to provide some leadership for the others? Yeah, definitely. We've got some very natural leaders in this side that were actually involved and played last year. So, I'm hoping that really comes through today. But the boys buy into it. They're all heading in the same direction. It's an exciting game. Yeah, I should think it is. You've been in the school now for about 3 years, and this year particularly looking after the first 15. So you've got an act to follow with what they achieved last year. What will be the sort of messages that you get across to them ahead of kick-off? To be honest, there won't be many messages at all. From this point on, they will be taking control. They need to control it on the pitch, so they need to be controlling it right from the kick-off. I'll write a few messages on the board to start with, which is just reminders of the messages that we put across during training. But that's it really. It's now largely down to them. Okay, and finally, Canford, what do you know about them? I know nothing really, apart from that we have to be our very best to beat them. They're a fantastic team. Good set of results, really good coaching staff, we can only concentrate on what we've got to do, and we've got to be at our best. Simple as that. Best of luck. Thank you very much. Well, Peter Short, Canford School come here to Bedford knowing they've got a job to do this afternoon. How much are you looking forward to it? Yeah, we're thoroughly excited about the challenge ahead of us this afternoon. Bedford, they've got a good tradition. They're cup holders. They're playing at home. They're the favourites today. So we'll happily play the role of underdog. Come here and try and perform a bit of a smash and grab and get home down the motorway before they know what's hit them. So that's what
what we'll try and do today.
Excellent. I like the sound of that. How excited are the boys? What would it mean to them to get into the semi-finals?
It's huge for the school. It's probably the biggest game the school's ever had. We're I think we punch out above our weight, but we're of a modest size in comparison with quite a few of the schools who are left in the competition. So we know where we stand, but this is probably the best group we've had in 20 years or so since Ben Gollings played for the school. So this is a great opportunity for them. The draw's been kind to us so far, and I think we've got a good opportunity coming into today.
Yeah, with the experience that you've got in your former professional era, what are the sort of messages that you'll be getting to your team?
Look, it's all about taking care of ourselves. I think I've spoken to a few of some of my oppos on the circuit who have come against Bedford this year. We're not really into sort of looking at lots and lots of video and stuff. I don't think that's great for the schoolboy game. I think take care of what we can take care of and see whether they can deal with that. And likewise, the same goes for them. So we're hoping for an open game of rugby today that showcases what we can do.
Yeah. Final message then, anything that on Bedford to really look out for?
I think they've got a strong back row. 10 will call the shots, strong defence, and 10-12 access is going to be good. We're hoping to have the edge on them up front with our type 5 and our line out, so we'll see how that goes early on.
We look forward to it. Best of luck.
Thanks ever so much. Cheers.
So great to get some real insight from the coaches as to how they view this one, and clearly both of them talking about, it's almost cliche these days, isn't it, but talking about the fact that they want the players to concentrate on their own game, not get too carried away with the sense of occasion or with what the opposition might be doing, just wanting to get it absolutely right from their team's point of view. And why not take the pressure off the occasion, concentrate on the processes. It's what the players and clubs are doing at the very top level. And for some of these players, well, they may well make it to the top level. As we've said, players at the Saints Academy and the Bath Academy. Plenty of future potential, the stars of tomorrow, that next generation on show here in the NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy. And we can see that in red, Bedford are now taking their place on the field. And we are just awaiting the arrival of Canford. Very good afternoon to you, and a very warm welcome if you are joining us here on the live stream on englandrugby.com or wherever you're watching. Do keep in touch with us on the coverage. At Schools Cup is the Twitter account for all the details as to what's going on. Hashtag NatWest Schools Cup. Our referee for this one from the East Midlands Society is Richard Parrish. Tells me ahead of kick-off that he will be focusing in this first 5-10 minutes on making sure the teams are sharp with their onsides, making sure they don't creep. So Canford onto the field. They are in, as you can see, the white and the blue hoops. So Canford then ready to get the game underway. Kicking from left to right, and it's going to be James Thorne, one of those Bath Academy players, who's going to get the game underway. He's actually the most capped first 15 player, having begun his first 15 career in year 11.
I need a touch, Judge, there. One of your guys was supposed to be doing it.
A place in the NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy semi-finals awaits. Bedford, the defending champions then, with a job to do this afternoon. Canford, the challengers. And we're underway. Jump didn't quite go initially into the hands of Bedford, despite the jump from Connor Finch. So it's back with Canford and away through Fgrave. Big punch up the middle from Will Butt. Look forward to seeing plenty of that this afternoon. But then the pass and the service wasn't quite good enough, but referee calls a penalty for the offside. He said he'd be hot on it, and it could lead to an early scoring opportunity for the visitors.
Thank you. Lad, here's your mark.
They don't take too long to make the decision, and James Thorne asks for the tee to try and open the account for Canford. Thorne didn't take too long about it, did he? And gets the first points on the board. Canford with the lead, 3 points to 0. Just over a minute played. "35 minutes, the game's at this level. 35 minutes a half, I should say. So Bedford with the restart. Has that gone out on the full? No, it bounces, but it bounces infield, and it's going to be gathered in by Dalton. Now they come back down this short side. Tackle is from Milton. Eventually gets his man down. Ball goes wide over to the far side. Bedford looking to try and break away around the outside in the hands of Ben Knight. Just cuts in field, does well to get the ball to ground. Little delay while Jack Dalton gets his way over there, but Bedford will get the penalty. Dalton wants to take it quickly, keep up a high tempo while Bedford have got possession, but they've just rushed it a little in midfield. It's been knocked forward, and Canford will have the scrum. So clear communication from the referee. Wants the body positions and the heads in the right position. Mr. Parrish. Louis Fgrave. Versatile backline player, making the shirt his own, the scrum half in the upper sixth now. And gets that ball away, then a little wrap around, and then the scrum half gets himself involved again, but it wasn't quite held by Milton. Spill the opportunity.
Scrum all line, Red!
Bedford with the option of the scrum from the knock-on or the line out, but they've chosen to take the line, I understand.
No.
Will Kerr, one of those players that started the final last year. 4 of them in the starting lineup. Ball easily taken. Decent set piece down from Wallace. High ball to try and challenge the back three. It's going to come down. Neeson out of the way. Nick Milton has just spilled a few so far in these opening exchanges. And then that's gone out on the full. So the referee is going to take them back. And Bedford looking to try and take it quickly down the far side, but referee gets over, sets the mark. Just outside his 22 when the clearance was made. Bedford showing from that last line out then just how efficient their set piece can be. Can they do it again from this position?
5.
Ball's in from Kerr. It's another jump from Wallace, but referee wasn't happy with that one. Canford.
Put you up, otherwise.
Just waiting to get the ball in. Referee is just wanting to make sure everything is settled and ready. Bedford with the flat defensive line. They've dropped Ed Johnson down here on the left. They've pushed up and managed to get a decent tackle on Canford as they try and break out from the scrum. Ball kicked downfield. Bedford with the opportunity to run it back just on the halfway line. Little check one way and then the other. That's nice from Orchard. Gets it to ground, but he's managed to almost get through without any support. Ball is there. A couple of players just in the way. Dalton, and then through the hands of Johnson. Dalton again. Johnson decides to go outside that time to the big Fraser Strachan. And then a little bit further round, and Bedford still going. That's good strong running from Ben Knight. And now they come through again through the skipper Dingwall. Dalton opts to the right that time, where Dingwall was waiting as first receiver, but the referee with a wave of the finger. Offside again from Canford. And what's the decision going to be for Bedford here? To go for 3 points and level the game, or back their set piece into the corner? I think it's going to be the option to go for goal, and perhaps at this stage of the game that's the sensible one. Dingwall then. Chance to level the scores. Strikes it right-footed. Flags go up. No problem at all, and a decent roar from the home fans who are just close to our commentary position here. And 3 points apiece, the score. Probably not a bad reflection of the opening exchanges. Certainly seems that each of the sides that have had the restarts have been the ones to really push down and get in decent territorial position. Canford, well, the ball's gone a little loose. There's a bit of tidying up work needed here from Bedford. Johnson, and then uses Orchard. Gets a left peg to it. It's a decent clearance in the circumstances. They were under a fair bit of pressure, but Bedford have seen it off. Canford line out option. Big number one is Arthur Caldwell. Really worked hard since he had the breakthrough from the under-14 B team, coming through the Canford side. Line out wasn't straight, says the referee, so Bedford will have the scrum. Ball is in. Break at the back. Decent strength from Hussey. Now they're going to try and go back the same way. Canford really not doing a terribly good job of getting back onside in time. They are loitering away. Caldwell there, didn't seem to know where he was. Ball goes wide. What can Bedford make of this? Good running from Dingwall, trying to set the wing free. Now it's going to come back in field. Dalton, Johnson, then the little shorter ball, but a really big hit on Joe Rogers. Real sit-down tackle. Big blow on the whistle from the referee. And it's a quick tap from Dingwall. Have they got numbers on the outside if they can use them? Just managed to get it into the hands of Will Bowes. Dalton looking to try and get it away. Another blow of the whistle from the referee.
Excellent. Point the way you think. Point the way you think. That's it. Now take a step back. Well done. Get my attention.
So here's Bedford trying to come through with the tackle. I think the referee judging that the Canford defence had got up a little quickly. One back by Bedford. A fair bit of pressure on Dalton, but he's gathered it in and his forwards will carry around the corner to try and set him free. Although the bodies have still piled down on top of him there. He is eventually up. Referee says the ball is there to be played, so Dalton, while he thinks about it, is going to allow Joe Rogers to do the hard work. Still a little untidy in there, but it is now there for Dalton, who gets it away for Johnson. Then big carry through the middle from Strachan. Dalton goes digging again, off to the right once more. Chip over the top from Orchard. Manages to catch Oliver Dunga, but he calls for the mark, and Canford will have a bit of time to clear the lines here. Decent clearance from the free kick. Will hand possession over. Not a penalty, of course, but got some decent yardage on that, sending Bedford back to the halfway line. It is a bitterly cold afternoon here in Bedfordshire. Autumn or winter well and truly arrived. Bedford bringing a couple of the big guns. Ball's down from Bedford. Blow of the whistle from the referee again. And he's just not happy with how the teams come together once they bring that ball down. Not allowing the competition for the ball. Ball's away for Canford. Haven't had much of a chance to really see them with ball in hand, and that's a good break from James Thorne. The support runner's still there, but then it's loose, and Dingwall manages to get that loose ball and get it away, but Ben Knight then just running down a slightly blind alley. Needed to set it up. Dalton was there. Bit of a rolling maul as Connor Finch gets it to ground. Big blow on the whistle from the referee. Penalty Bedford.
Why are you not in Bedford? Why are you not in Bedford?
There was kick for the penalty.
Yeah, but it's still it's your fault or not.
Not too much yardage on it, but Bedford at least with possession. Canford half. What can they do from this position? They've got to be careful at the line out. They're winning them, but the referee is clearly very hot on how the pack is brought together once the ball is brought down. They might be better to try and tap it down and get it straight to Dalton and away. That's what they do this time. Dalton through to Johnson. And then a little shorter ball, and that's nice running from Connor Finch. Gets the support. This is a good central position now for Bedford. Right or left are the options. They go right through Johnson, then cutting back in field is Orchard in the blue scrum cap. The Bedford fullback. There for Dalton once more. This time Dingwall, first receiver. Thinks about the options. It comes forward from Canford, does it, but they've still got the ball here, Bedford, and they come through. Wallace running out of turf down this near corner at the 22. Dalton arrives just in time. Dingwall might have spotted the gap to go through himself. It's good strong running by the centre, and the offload is excellent to Colston Kane. Bedford making good yards in this phase play. Off to the right hand side. It's a good tackle on Knight. Just stops him advancing. Then it's Kane once more with the short run, but have Canford managed to hold them up? No. Ball's on the ground. They decide to go short side. A little show and go from Connor Finch, but he was well marshalled. Good tackle on him. Dalton once more. Blow on the whistle from the referee. The three-quarter line advancing too far. Oh, and it's been adjudged to go forward from the referee. Bedford took it quickly once he gave the penalty for the offside against Canford. Just got it dislodged from the hands. Three points apiece here in the first half at Bedford School. The defending NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy winners taking on Canford School in this quarter-final. Big shove from Bedford. Canford under a fair bit of pressure defensively there, but they deal with it well. Get the clearance downfield. Orchard is underneath it. Little step and Orchard's away from the first man, but he's well tackled by Fgrave, the Canford scrum half. Then it goes forward on the ground. There's an advantage being played from the knock-on. Now, clearance is made downfield. Advantage is over. Will Bowes shrugs off the first challenge of Meeson. And then the support play. Oh well, scragged around the shirt. Referee with a possible decision to make there, but he's happy for play to go on. Strong blow on the whistle as things just look for a moment like they might overspill. Enjoyed some good open rugby over the last few minutes, and that's what these two sides certainly promise in this quarter-final. Seen a couple of flashes of Fraser Dingwall and what he's capable of. Bedford inside centre, started the final at fullback a year ago. Played Scotland under 16s, as has his centre partner Fraser Strachan, the two Frasers for Bedford. Some good opponents in the centre for them as well, though. Good tests. Will Butt and James Thorne. Butt, who's in the Bath Academy, played for the first 15 when he was in year 11, in the lower 6th now. And as we mentioned earlier, James Thorne, the most capped first 15 player, having begun his career in year 11, much like his centre partner. Canford with it. Got to kick it away, going to try and test Orchard, but Orchard gathers it in well. Proved to be decent enough under the high ball. A little bit of dancing in midfield to try and shrug off his defender. Eventually takes it into contact well. Dingwall, now he has a little step, looks to offload. Dalton didn't show up his skipper by holding onto that ball. Had work to do to hold on to it. Oh, this is a good work from Canford to try and hold him up. Oh, but we're going back for a penalty. Well, Canford might find themselves a little hard done by there, because it was really strong work by them to try and hold Bedford up in that tackle. They identified the fact that they had Dalton in the challenge, and a couple of their big men could hold up the scrum half, but penalty advantage was already being played for an offside. And that's a really good nudge into the corner. It's piling the pressure on Canford now. Just see in the bottom of our shot the rest of the Bedford School pupils who are here to support.
Well done, fella. Thank you.
Some parents in attendance as well. Will Kerr will want to get this one right. Will they go to Wallace, as they've done so often? There he is in the middle. Now he gets it down, and the maul is set up.
Drive it on!
Going sideways more than it is forwards, but they may have shrugged off some of the Canford defence, so now they get go forward. And that's what you see. And they've still got it. One Canford defender in there, I think it's Rob Tolcher who's managed to hold on to it. Penalty Bedford, they tap it and go quickly. Referee is going to call the fact that they weren't back 10. Joe Rogers decided to try and go himself.
On the line, don't move.
Now then, Dalton again. They go back to the left. Dingwall, well hit in the tackle. Now they get the ball down. Dalton, they go out wide. Couldn't quite get it down through Finch. Now a little closer drive. Have they managed to get themselves over the line yet? No. It's another penalty. Oh, in fact, it's a penalty try. That's the decision of the referee. The decision was that the try would have been scored had it not been for the persistent infringing. I imagine some of that might have been not being back on side. Referee explaining the decision to Canford. I think our link to our ref mic is has just gone, but ball is down, but not quite there. But the referee calling the penalty try. Conversion from Dingwall is good. Bedford 10, Canford 3. Restart from Canford is a little low one. Bit of a tester for Ted Hicks, but he gathered it well. The Bedford second row. Solid running. Getting that restart back now over the territory, over the halfway line into Canford territory. Orchard then releasing out the back. This is good hands down the back line. Really nice stuff from Bedford, and now Wallace. And they find the winger, and it's back inside for Wallace, and then Finch. And the tackles are coming in from Canford. They just managed to hold on, but in fact, they knock it forward into a Bedford hand. It's big, solid running from Ryan Hussey. Oh, and then they break away and they're over. The penalty try opens the doors, and Joe Rogers with the second score just a minute later. What energy from Bedford. Look what that opening score has done for them. Great score from Rogers. Popped up at just the right time. Dingwall. Swings the cultured right boot well. And Bedford, well, in the space of a matter of moments, go from 3-all to 17-3. Canford have got to do their best to stay in this now, not panic too much. James Thorne. That one gets a little bit more air than the last one, but Dalton, no mistake in bringing it down. Kicks from just outside his 22. Pressure on Nick Milton, but he does well to hold on to it. And then the Hatfield down from Meeson. Just goes over the head of Orchard. He's going to have to scurry back and get hold of it. Bit more time on it. Right boot goes out, but Meeson, or in fact it's Dunga who's going to try and run that down, but his kick is well fielded, and Johnson to try and clear. We've got a bit of aerial ping pong going now, but Meeson opts to throw it out to the right to Milton. He'll put a right boot, looking for this right hand corner. That might be a little better. Oh, and he's taken the quick one himself. Back in field, Dingwall looks to try and take them on. Leg it with the hit. Johnson under a bit of pressure as the defence came up there, and Strachan's decided to boot that one, and it goes well over the heads of the last line of Canford defence, and the chase is on. The red shirts come streaming downfield. He loves a step, does Meeson, and he's got real gas when he gets going. Meeson can be devastating over the halfway line. Little show, he's got support. They've got to be careful they don't overrun him, but Meeson could be going all the way himself here. Needed to give it, but Canford still have it. Getting closer and closer to the line, and they're over. Try is awarded. Brilliant score, and they've worked their way into that corner. Absolutely brilliant play, and the finish from Will Butt, opening the game up. Conversion attempt doesn't quite get there. Bedford 17, Canford 8. That try will give Canford real heart, although it was brilliantly made really by the individual skill of Meeson. Steam downfield, making a good 60 yards himself. Great work from the Canford fullback. He'll be a marked man now though, that's for sure. Restart puts pressure on Canford. Follow-up tackle from Wallace gets well applauded by the Bedford faithful. Clearance is made. It's not the best one. If anything, it might have just put Ben Knight in a bit of space. Little shape of a kick for a moment, but now the ball is there. Dalton eventually gets there. Orchard happy to play scrum half just to get away that extra half second quicker. Colston Kane with the big carry. Barrelling run from the prop. Now then Dingwall goes out the back with a dummy runner. Quick hands from Finch on to Wallace. Well, the referee, well, I'm not quite sure what he's given there. He might have given a forward pass. Not quite in line with it, but we'll have to give him the benefit. Ball is in from Canford with the scrum. They look to try and break down the short side, then they get the ball away back into the hands of Fgrave. Bedford wanted to try and get that off on the near side. Oh, plenty of pressure on the scrum half from Bedford, and they break away again. And is it going to be a try for Joe Rogers? Is it going to be his second? Yes, it is.
Brilliant from Rogers, reacting so quickly to the big hit. That all came really from Canford going down a blind alley. But the urgency from the Bedford defence turned that ball over from the loose play. And they get try number 3. There's the big hit from Dingwall, made by the skipper, really. Rogers breaking away. And they weren't going to stop him from there. Looked like he might have just popped a foot in a divot for a second. Nearly faulted him. But that is try number 3. And where Canford would have been hopeful a few moments ago. Well, they've conceded another. Dingwall then. Right-footed. It's a beautiful conversion, as you can see. And takes the scores up to 24-8. 4 out of 4 from the tee so far, Fraser Dingwall. Canford. Nicely taken by Wallace. Dalton. Look to try and set up that first little pod around the corner, which they do. Then Orchard acting as first receiver. Struggling to get that ball down and back on their side. But Bedford get the penalty out of it.
Hey, now you can tackle him.
And they tap and go quickly again. Is that the hint of a high tackle? Not sure the referee was near enough to see it. Rogers, double try scorer. Joe Wallace fancies another run. Good tackle on him. Presents the ball. Dalton comes in, but scrum half Kerr is, oh sorry, hooker Kerr is happy to play the role before he gets there. Orchard not held. What another metre.
Bedford!
Not sure what the referee saw in that one, but it's a Canford scrum. Just a couple of minutes until half-time, we expect.
Loose head right.
Ball is in. Fgrave gets it away to the left-hand side. Oh, a little juggle then. Get it out the back. Oh, it was very nearly an interception from Bedford. They've clearly got these little moves from the back of the scrum.
Don't forget you work. Just got put up with the rest. There's your mark.
Canford really trying to work that sort of move from the back of the scrum. It's not quite working for them. They're almost overcomplicating it, I think. Pat Regan getting himself involved again. Ball is
you get down, you
into
get
the
up,
line,
you hurry
but
up.
just
Come on, do it again.
not straight.
You're waving a player up.
The referee asks them
They weren't getting quick enough.
what option they would like. They go for the line out. Jamie Vasey. Just waiting for one of the Bedford players to sort out his shoelaces.
Right, please.
Vasey. Oh, and it's been stolen by Bedford. Loose on the floor, but Dalton gets it away. Dingwall. On to Strachan, and then the ball over to the right-hand side. Left wing Will Bowes is over that side, and he takes it to ground, presents the ball well. Then Dalton's there, gets it out now for Dingwall. Out the back door, looking for Finch, and then Finch onto Rogers. Rogers was hoping, I think, that his hooker would come in and pick that line from the inside. But it's still there for Dalton. They come to the right, Dingwall. Strachan carries. Then off to the right, Dingwall with the show, but Canford weren't buying it. Bring him down on the 22, central position. Dalton goes to the right. Johnson just scragged in the tackle. They've gone more lateral than they have forward there, Bedford. Referee says play on, as Dalton had his hands on the ball and Canford try and ruck through, and they get themselves a penalty. Holding on to the ball.
Tackled, leave the ball alone. Last play. You kick it out. Certified.
Well, the referee decides that at the end of that little passage we will have half-time. Well, a fascinating first half. It was all level for a while as the teams slugged away at each other, but then once the referee gave that penalty try, it opened the floodgates. Rogers then back immediately with try number 2. Then Canford, they bit back with that try over in the far corner, but Rogers again popping up to get his second and Bedford's third. Means we are at half-time at Bedford School in the NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy with a score of Bedford School 24, Canford School 8. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the second half.
Yeah, I think they're both offside and a lot of overplay. And to me, I'm now with it, if you get what I mean.
So we're ready to get back underway. Second half about to restart. And Bedford with a comfortable lead so far, 24 points to 8. And it's going to be Fraser Dingwall, who's certainly showed his influence in the first half, to get us started for the second. High hanging restart, and it's well gathered in by his own team. Dalton, he's being dragged into that. The referee's not quite seen it. He's got work to do to get that away, but he's going to get the penalty out of it. Despite Canford's protestations, you can't drag the 9 in, and then he's being given a fair amount of back chat, the referee, Richard Parrish. He won't take too long in asking for another 10 metres. Coming round the side is the signal from the referee, and it's going to be an opportunity for Bedford to stick some more points on the board at the start of the second half, and that's good thinking from the skipper. That psychologically will do quite a lot to bring Canford down. They'll have wanted a positive start to the second half. No doubt that's what the likes of Coach Peter Short, Director of Sport Mark Burley will have been saying to them. Let's get out there and start to play. It's 0-0, let's see what we can put on them. But they have a job to do, trailing by 16, and this could see them trailing by 19 if Dingwall can add a further 3 points. Well, that one just gets away from him. Clearance made from the 22, inviting Bedford onto it. Orchard decides to change direction and then flings it out left where Dingwall's waiting, and Dingwall still with possession. Turns and presents it for Dalton. And the big up front stuff. Nicely done from Will Entwistle. Chip through from Strachan. Nearly a miscommunication from Canford, but Toby Hett did really well to be the one to say, I'll get my hands on it. And then Fgrave looked to the left channel, but then went right. Gives it to his skipper in Regan. Canford, then the little pop pass. This is more direct from the visitors. We didn't see an awful lot of this first half. That was a good carry from Caldwell. Good 15 metres up to the halfway line. And they go again. Ball available for Fgrave. Defence rushing up. Well, Bedford going over the top there off their feet. Fgrave. Het. Oh, where's he off to? Needed to offload that. Needs the support now. And then the pick-up from the skipper. Bedford not getting back on side, or rather hands in the ruck. My apologies. So penalty to Canford.
Player on the floor illegally.
Thorne. Decent kick from him. Into the 22. Three points on the board, second half from Bedford. If Canford could get themselves a try, well, that would be a good way to start the second half from them. Oh, and the ball is just about one back on the Canford side. It was a big jump from Ted Hicks. Sullivan then missed it, but it just came down at the back with Regan. Then another pick and go around the fringes. Around the fridges, not quite. Pop up. Oh, and then that's a nice line, and then a flick out the back door. Some work for James Thorne to do as they try and come round over to this left-hand side. Meeson involved. Then they go close quarters with Cordwell. Now away from Fgrave again. The gap nearly opening up through the middle for Rob Tolcher. Then they pick and go again. Did Bedford get themselves in the way? Yeah, penalty Canford. What's going to be the decision from Fgrave? It's the tap and go from Thorne this time. Offers it for Meeson. He's got the power. Or he's got the speed, rather. Has he got the power? Just stopped a metre short, as you can see. Low drive. They continue the try to try and low drive it. There's been taken out off the ball there. Referee's got to try and keep an eye on that. Where is the ball? It is there. And it's just been knocked on. And Bedford will have possession. And you can hear the home fans and what that means. They back their defence in red, as we can see some of the changes potentially being made. There is the change, leaving the field, Will Entwistle, and George Seward comes on into the front row. Saints Academy gradually working his way through the school's strength and power testing records, George Seward. He's a strong unit, and he's not going to be a welcome presence in the front row for Canford.
Both sides!
Referee wants that scrum steady before the ball gets in.
You don't want to scrummage that low, alright? Keep your back up. No trouble in the first one.
Okay, 14! Here we go! Come on, Brett! Stay up in the front row! Fine! Set!
Just checking the front side of the scrum this time. Bedford break down the short side. Ball there for Dalton. It's high, it's not going out. Regan's underneath it. Tacklers are in, but Regan holds on well. Now it's on the floor. It came forward off a Bedford boot, so Canford can play. Cordwell. Then away from Fgrave. Out to the right, they've just got themselves a little overcrowded there. Canford. So Bedford's defence being tested by Canford at the start of the second half, but they're dealing with it. So they managed to flood across well. Picking down the short side again. High kick, putting the pressure on, back for Meeson. Looks left. Couldn't get going, and then Dingwall read the intercept option. He's thrown it back. Gathered on the floor from Knight. Now they get over it. Option to the right. Kick downfield from Johnson. Oh, that's just worked out perfectly for Bedford. Really, really nice vision from the fly half. And picks his side a perfect position to put pressure on Canford early in this second half. Canford with plenty of pressure on this line out then. They throw to the back to the skipper Regan. Players get round it. Ball is available. Clearance kick is straight down the park. So plenty of options for Alfie Orchard here. Feed to the left for Johnson. Johnson with the little run himself and feeds perfectly to Strachan. Well timed. And then Dingwall in support. Out to the left, but his left winger had just crept in field and wasn't quite where he expected him to be. So the ball passed into touch accidentally, but it will be a line out to Canford. 24 points to 8, the scoreline. Canford with some room to try and get going out of their own 22. Tackle is decent on Will Butt. He is a good threat. Toby Het that time, brought to ground. Now the quick pick and run around the corner from George Leggett. They haven't got as much firepower in some of their type 5. It certainly does exist in Arthur Caldwell. There is Regan. If they could have found that to the wider outside channels, then they might have had a little bit more joy. Chris McIntosh is waiting on this left side, one of the replacements for Canford. But it's a turnover. Bedford do enough to stop that ball coming back, and they win themselves the scrum. Strong work from their forwards. It was a team just look a little more together.
As well, please, all right?
Are they looking like champions material? The side was last year, of course. A few changes since then. A few new players. A few players, of course, who left the school.
You're becoming loose. I know it's tiring. It's a... Come on, work. Yeah, keep bound. Right top of his shorts.
Hello.
Ball is in from Dalton. Johnson and the ball out the back for Orchard. Oh, but it just wasn't held. Referee will have to blow up for the knockout.
If that was it was accidental completely, all right? Not even a scrummage act.
Canford put in amongst the staff at the school.
Keep it up.
Junior Paramore.
Tight head, blue.
Played for Samoa at 3 Rugby World Cups. Coaches the Colts and the basketball side. They could do with that form of direct running here, Canford. Been a little bit more of it from Bedford, the likes of Dingwall and Strachan, who are really capable of fronting up broad-shouldered young men through the middle. Nice little pop from F. Grave there. Under pressure here. There's a player down. There he goes short again. Alan Sullivan just got the pass away. They're just going to try and drag him towards that far touch line. Oh, but they've done a turnover. Sufficiently held in the tackle without that ball coming back, and not enough go forward from Canford.
Come on, stay away,
And the referee
stay away,
happy enough that the momentum had been stalled to give the scrum possession to Bedford. And it is just that bit of physicality and strength that perhaps Canford are giving up here to Bedford now. Don't forget, we have the live semi-final draw coming up for you after this one. We know that Tunbridge are through, having beaten Eton College. 2 more quarter-finals taking place tomorrow, so they will know their fate in the semis for whoever qualifies from those games. They'll be taking place next week, but the draw is live just a moment or two after the full-time whistle of this game, so do stay with us for that as the 2016 NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy takes shape at the business end. Penalty for Canford. Dalton puts it down the touchline. Will take play just up to the 22. A lot of work to do still in this one. Canford trailing by 16. They could get themselves a try soon. Well, that would certainly put a different complexion on what's left to do in the second half. Ball is down from Sullivan. Now they come through the middle through Tolcher. Bedford may have just turned this one over, which they have. Hussey gets it back for Dalton. And the clearance is made. And Bedford will breathe again. It is just those moments when Canford carry into the more strong, more technically gifted forward players from Bedford, just capable of forcing those turnovers and getting possession back in the red shirts.
On the 22. It's one of the 100 things I'm doing. I will if I remember. My apologies if I don't.
Now, as much as the clearance was made,
the line's the middle.
I think it was taken back in. So it's a Canford line out on the 22. Not worked out perfectly well for Bedford.
That's detached, play!
With another chance to try again. Can they get a rolling ball going forward, or will they have to try and use their quick men? If they could find the room for someone like Meeson, then that would be good. Or a potential break through the middle as Will Butt makes an extra few metres. Now they go to the left, through the skipper. And then ducking into the next one is Vasey. Tried to get the ball back, but Regan fancied another go himself. And then it's away through F. Grave. Bedford steal it back. Kick downfield is from Dalton. Oh, it's really well plucked out of the air from Meeson. Absolutely beautiful. He's going to get himself isolated if he's not careful here, though. Two Bedford players get over the ball. He's not released. It was a split second in it. And now Bedford go quickly, thinking they might have some more width on the ball to try and catch this Canford defence narrow. Oh, that's brilliantly offloaded over the top. Oh, but then the loose pass from Johnson. And the quick turnaround quickly comes to naught.
Red, come! Oh! Oh!
A couple more changes being made just out of your shot. One or two players coming into the reckoning. Ball nicely tapped down, but quickest one to react was George Leggett from Canford, so he manages to get the ball back. Then Cordwell loves to dip his shoulder into those tackles. Gets past the first man. Good physicality from the front row forward. Now to try and find a bit more width on it. Meeson onto McIntosh. McIntosh, oh, that's really good offloading over the top. Away from F. Grave. Sullivan. It's quick offloading, but they need to get a little bit more go forward. Oh, penalty advantage being played to Bedford here now. Whistle is blown. Dingwall. One penalty attempt gone awry in this second half. Otherwise, we haven't had a score other than that. Dingwall. Oh, that was a Canford brick wall on that occasion. They saw the centre coming. But what's it done to the defensive line for the second wave? Orchard with the little chip through. Bedford give chase. Didn't quite come. Jason van der Volt, the man who gave chase. Fancied a little go down that left side onto the field, replacing Will Bowes. Bedford, a little untidy again, under plenty of pressure, but they do manage to get it back on their side this time. Fraser Strachan, strong centre, sets them up a really good platform. Now they come again down that short side. Seward with really nice soft hands, but it's gone forward, and Canford will have the advantage. The referee says it's not going to come out of there too quickly, and will offer the visitors the scrum.
Crouch!
Oh, another loud blow on the referee's whistle, and he's not happy with how that front row are going down, and with enough warnings, it's penalty time. Long arm rather than short arm. And Bedford, they've taken the penalty quickly. They've still got it with Dingwall, who finds Orchard with just enough room on the outside. Cutting back in field is Knight. Not had an awful lot of room to work in. Knight, Johnson needed the big truck to carry. It arrived just in time. Dalton, Dingwall, scragged high. The referee's arm comes out. The advantage is there. They've got to try and use this, Bedford. Back in field. Finch. Referee's going to bring them back for the penalty. The high tackle. Tap and go from Dalton. Now then, what's the communication here from the referee? Well, I think he's saying that he may not have taken it from the right spot. Either way, we need to just check the decision from the referee. Well, rather than calling him back to the spot, he's, I think, given a scrum to Canford. F. Grave, under plenty of pressure. Coming up through the middle. Will Butt once more. Kick over to the right-hand side. Oh, they've almost used it as a crossfield kick to get out of their own territory. It's worked really well. Ball's presented though, and could be under all sorts of pressure, but Canford have done well enough just to get the support there in time.
Let go! Straight!
That's well played. They have shown flashes of imagination and thought, but then it's just been nudged forward on the floor, and Bedford will have the scrum. Canford's George Leggett just needing a moment's attention, and it's good to see the Bedford players also around him, showing a bit of care and attention. .24 points to 8. Bedford with the lead then. Looking to have a foot in the semi-finals. That draw coming up after this game. Our clock showing just around 10 minutes left of the game. But we may be waiting on the referee's whistle, of course, for the more accurate time. Bedford.
Oh!
Get it away. They're ready for a little bit more rugby towards the end of this Champions Trophy quarter-final. And it looks like the rugby's going to be played by Bedford. Middle turn back inside. Orchard couldn't quite release that. Manages to get it back. Dalton Johnson up through the middle. Good tackle from Canford. Might have taken a bit of a knock and is taking a moment to get himself out of there. Johnson, in the crowd of bodies, decides to put boot to ball. And the oval ball nearly beating everybody. Scampering to pick it up is Kerr. Oh, it's really untidy in there now. The referee's going to just have to bring a halt to that and set up the scrum. Down near me, the yellow plastic balls are being prepared for the semi-final draw. Will our official be brave enough to put Bedford in there yet? Or have Canford got a chance of getting their name into that semi-final draw? They've got a fair bit of work to do. You expect if they were to turn this one around, it would be quite a story. Dingwall, he nearly had room to try and get through there. Tackle from Canford was good. Dalton back the other way. Rogers, had the foresight to then see Stewart out the way, and he is strong. Haven't seen him too much in a room where he might get isolated one-on-one, Stewart. He's got the strength to perhaps overcome his opponent, even if he's not going to do it with a step, the likes of Meeson from Canford. Now Strachan, have they found room to put Van der Vault through? He's brought to ground, thought about the pass. Plenty of attention on the scrum half, but the referee says the defence was offside. So it's going to be a penalty to Bedford. Dalton hands the ball over to Dingwall. On this occasion, isn't going to go for 3 points. He's going to put it in the corner and ask his forwards to do a job for him. Referee's going to have his wits about him here. So the ball is in for Bedford, and the big shove goes on. They are making meters for fun in there. They've just got to get the ball down, and they do. Straight down at the back. And there's absolute delight. Is it Connor Finch, I think? And that is the try that will no doubt see off Canford. Supporters enjoying getting involved in the school chant. There is one for every school, they're almost all the same.
8 minutes of time it seems.
So Bedford with the chance to convert through Dingwall. This to take the home side over the 30-point mark. That's nicely struck and through the uprights. Just the one miss from Dingwall this afternoon. It's been an excellent kicking display from him, but he's also done plenty right in the centres as well.
31-8 to Bedford.
Called up to the England training and development camp. He's played Scotland under-16s as well, captain them. May have some decisions to make in his future young career as to where his allegiance will lie. He doesn't need to worry about that yet. He's playing some superb schoolboy rugby and guiding Bedford brilliantly. Referee just checks his watch.
Scrum here. On me. round, please.
Grave, versatile backline player. As we've said, he's been under an awful lot of pressure at the back of that Canford School scrum.
Bind! Check. Hold still, keep it up. Use.
Picks it up from the feet of Pat Regan. Then out through the hands of Het. Looks for the option as James Elwood, who shone in the tour to Ireland, played Blackrock College a couple of weeks ago in half-term. Ball bounces on. It's going to give Nick Milton a little bit more time on it. What's the option? There is a big defensive wall from Bedford that's come up. That's what they've done so well. Ollie Hine, one of the men in there with the tackle. Ball is at the base, but there's a penalty to Canford because one of the players was ahead of the kick.
Keep it.
Milton. Good cross-country runner is the winger.
No, sorry,
Joined the school from year 9. He's a sports scholar. Canford through Regan. Oh, but it's not straight, says the referee.
Line or scrum.
It's always going to go down well
Cool.
with the home fans. And Bedford, given the options, opt for the scrum.
Don't lick that. I wasn't licking it. It's a disease.
Come on.
47-14.
Ball is in from Dalton. Joined on that scrum. Doniger as well. Orchard, he's really come into the game this second half, been moved more into that back line. Decent game for Orchard. Another penalty from the referee. Dingwall called upon. He'll send this one. Wherever it goes, it's not really too important at this stage. Such is Bedford's commanding lead, and perhaps one that shows they've still got a bit of that winning pedigree from last year. It's not just a win, but it's looked pretty convincing. As much as Canford have tried to throw at them, Bedford have had all the answers. As we approach full time in this one.
I hope they're recording this because I'm just gonna like
Semi-final draw coming up. Do stay with us for that. Oh, but it's loose at the back and it's picked up by Canford. They need to get the support players there, clear out and get possession, which they do. Trying to use the full back line and get McIntosh into it. Just comes back and around the corner. Quickly away from Grave. Didn't have long to get that one away, but successful enough in doing so. Grave again. Het. Good service to keep that going down the line, and then Will Hutchings with the big run, and then a big tackle, but he got the ball away. Milton with the chip in field. Pressure on Orchard, but he touches it down. And it is just spilling over. And the referee is going to have to get in there and sort this out. Well, there are more people arriving than are walking away at this stage, and well, need this to be sorted out. Tempers flaring from the visitors. And the referee eventually does get them pulled apart, helped by some of the Canford players. It's not what you want to really see at this level. The referee is just going to call a couple of the players over. It's very late on in the day for this sort of thing to be happening. Into the last couple of minutes of this quarter-final. Bedford School, the more comfortable from the moment the penalty try was awarded in that first half. Waiting for the ball to get in for Fgrave. And there it is. Can Canford create a last-minute score here? Pat Regan goes around the right side. Bedford trying to step through and spoil this. Het tries to step through, nearly gets through on his own. Oh, but it's a penalty to Bedford. Canford transgressing as they tried to secure possession. And Bedford clear it after the referee lets them know that that will be the final act. Well, commiserations to Canford, who came here hoping to try and take a scalp and hoping that they would have enough against the defending champions. But it's proved to be very much a case that Bedford are looking as strong as ever. Just the one score in the second half is how it turned out after Bedford had set themselves such a strong platform at half-time. No doubt something to reflect on ahead of the semi-final stage. Canford with the one try towards the end of that first half, but they couldn't get themselves on the scoreboard second half. So it has finished in the NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy quarter-final with a full-time score of Bedford School 31, Canford School 8. And now we can bring you that live semi-final draw coming in just a few moments. So do stay with us. Congratulations in the meantime to Bedford School. To our continued live streaming coverage of the NatWest Schools Cup Champions Trophy. Congratulations to Bedford. I know we've got James here and Peter from Canford. I'll come to you in a second, James. But Canford, would you say that they were done by the better team on the day?
Yeah, I think we have no complaints. Beaten by a much better side today. Other than probably the scrum, I don't think we were dominant in any area, and probably that stemmed from a sort of we weren't sharp mentally at the start. We stood off them and let them play, and they're a good team. So and they did, and we gave ourselves way too much to do in the end.
Well, commiserations, Peter. James, you must have been pleased with the side's performance and defending champions. You've got some work to do going into the semis, of course, but the likes of your leaders, the likes of Fraser Dingwall, those sorts of players stood up today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we knew today we had to be at our very best, and generally that was our very best. It's definitely the best we played all season by a long way, and we know we needed it against a quality side like Canford. And they showed they actually had huge amounts of pressure on us in the second half. A bit of rubber the green, a couple of things went our way, which allowed us to exit. And if they got a couple of early scores in that second half, actually it could have been a different story. So big defensive effort from our guys, and because they did come out guns blazing in the second half.
Excellent. Well, we now have the semi-final draw, and both of these gentlemen are going to help us with the draw. We will not take too much time about it. In there we have Epsom College or Blundell's, and they'll be playing tomorrow, of course. We have Bedford, who've just been victorious here, Oakham or Monmouth, who play tomorrow, and Tunbridge, who overcame Eton. So, Peter, if I can ask you to draw the home side for the first semi-final. Pop open the little capsule and show who we have drawn. Oh dear, it's on the floor. It's the same one, I can vouch for that. Cold hands out here. It's Oakham or Monmouth who will be at home for the first semi-final. So James, are you going to draw your side Bedford to travel to Oakham or Monmouth? We shall see. And it is Tunbridge School. So Tunbridge will be away at Oakham or Monmouth in the first semi-final. And the stir of the final two. For our second semi-final, are you going to draw Bedford with a home tie? That's the question. No, it's Epsom or Blundell's who get the second semi-final, and that is at home for one of those two. So just to complete affairs and make sure we've got it all sorted out, James will hopefully confirm that Bedford will be travelling. There we are. Bedford School, who will travel to Epsom or Blundell's. So there we go. That's confirmation of the semi-final draw then. The first semi is Oakham or Monmouth at home to Tunbridge, who, as I said, overcame Eton yesterday. And the second semi-final will be between Epsom or Blundell's, who will be at home to Bedford, who have won here this afternoon. Those semi-finals due to take place just next week. Such is the competitive nature of the Champions Trophy. We move on apace into the semi-finals. But for those of you who've been enjoying our quarter-finals coverage this afternoon, once again, commiserations to Canford. Well done to Bedford. We will see which teams we follow in the semi-finals, but for now, from all of us here at Bedford School, it's a very good afternoon.